I would like to know what are the opportunities in terms of work or education, any, like what are the opportunities, or why should I exactly migrate to Australia?
Okay. Uh, Basically, not because I live in Australia, I'm an Australian citizen, but Australia is one of the most beautiful countries in the world. Clear blue skies. I'll give you in points: clear blue skies, four seasons, free education for kids, free medical for everyone. Your child is born, you get baby allowance, you get child allowance
If you are a permanent resident.
if you're a permanent
Okay.
resident. So if you're a permanent resident and if you have a child born in Australia, you get birth allowance.
Oh.
And then the child gets milk allowance. Then he gets toddler allowance. Then he gets child allowance. Then he gets youth allowance when he's a teenager. And think about it. Like, for example, if my son once stands up and says, Dad, I want to do law, he can go to Australia, he can go to any university, and the government can sponsor him to do law, where I don't have to pay anything from my pocket.
Okay.
And he only pays back to the authorities if he's working in that profession and if his salary is above 60K
Oh.
per year.
If he's
So,
not, if he has changed his profession.
he doesn't need to pay. He'll be doing something else. So there are many people who jump from one. Sometimes some people start doing nursing and then they feel, no, this is too hard for them, or start doing medicals and they feel it's too hard for them. So they switch to something which they are good at. But Australia wants 100% literacy. So that is the reason they even sponsor and even promote people, kids getting into different types of educations. So that is where the government looks after you. That is what is basically what is there. Why Australia? As I said, four
So the
seasons,
security,
a
what I
lot,
understand.
heaps
Yeah.
of security. Like during COVID, we were all highly secured. Nobody went hungry. Everyone was at home, but they were looked after. There was job keeper, job saver allowances. There were so many other allowances which are there from the government. So that is what helps every family, a migrant family. Imagine, like I tell every migrant family, your dreams are my reality. So basically, a migrant family will dream that my son's education, child's education is free, or they will dream that their medical is free. For us, it is free. These are my rights. So, and Australia is not a country where there is no work. There's so much of work. There's so many job opportunities. Every nook and corner, there's job opportunities that are there. Because Australia, that's why it's called the land of opportunity. Because there are so many. There's one of the largest iron ore in the world is Australia. One of the largest coal mining, Australia. You can see from India also. Adani has gone there. He's basically spent more than $8 billion right now in Carmichael mine in Queensland. The largest, the largest plutonium nuclear to get is basically from Australia. South Australia has the largest mine, largest opals, largest largest type of barley is from Australia.
What is Bali?
Barley is wheat, agriculture,
Barley. Oh, okay, okay,
barley.
yeah.
So largest type of barley is from Australia. So Australia has a lot of mines, minerals, agriculture, which basically is there is so much over there, but so there are hardly any people to do anything because majority of the Australians are baby boomers, which are like 60 plus, 65 plus, and the other part are kids, and the teenage crowd and the working crowd is not so much. There's so much of gold in Australia, but people are not mining because there are no people. So, what Australia's major weak point is having people across over there. That's why they even signed a free trade agreement. Our new Prime Minister signed a free trade agreement in 2022 December with India. And the first thing that they said is, we want migration. We want people from India coming over here because Indians are the best, for Australia.
Okay.
Commonwealth countries speak English, and once they migrate, they don't go back. So that is why Australia is is a nice place, a warm place. Like in Australia, we don't have anything like religion. We just say we are Australian.
Oh,
We don't say we are A religion or B religion, or there's nothing of that sort. Everyone's welcome as long as everyone respects everyone. So that is why I would say, why migrate to Australia? And if you're looking at the job part, Australia has the highest wage act in the world. It is $23.23, $23.23
per
per hour.
per hour.
Yes. So if you work in McDonald's, you will be paid minimum $23.23. And in Australia, like unlike if you're sending somebody from here to US or you have a contract, you will be paying them Indian wages even though if he is going abroad, if he is in US. But in Australia, you cannot do that. So even if someone comes over here, whether he is Australian resident or Australian citizen or a migrant, they are all equal
Okay.
and they are all paid the same.
Okay.
So there is an average bracket. So every occupation has an average bracket.
Okay.
But think about it. America is like $6 to $7 an hour, and Australia is $23.23 per hour. That is a huge, huge difference
That is huge. Yeah.
for people who are working out of Australia versus working in Australia. And in Australia, you get family, you get life. Like you work Monday. Full time work in Australia is called 37 hours a week. 40 is maximum. After that, it's called overtime. And after that, you're paid also at overtime. You're paid like 1.5 times more or double or triple sometimes if you're working on a public holiday. So again, quality of life. You get time with family, you get time with kids,
So quality of life, security.
security. And today, if you see, Australia stands as one of the top countries in the world, in top 10, called the most livable countries in the world. They rank number 5 where their passports or where their country is concerned. Australian cities also, I think 1 or 2 are ranking in top 10 as most livable cities in the world.
But if that is the case, then ऐसे हजारों लाखों लोग क्यों नहीं माइग्रेट करते हैं मतलब ऑस्ट्रेलिया में?
Lack of knowledge. That is why we are here. That is why I'm here. I've come back to India after 14 years to basically educate people that Australia is a beautiful country. And if you come down over there, there's a lot of opportunities over there. I've lived there. I was a migrant. I know what a migrant feels like when you start the process and, till the end of the process and when you go to a different country. So, what we basically do is we bridge the gap between the Indian and the Australian culture. And there are not many people who do that. That is why people are like, Acha, people have that notion. They keep asking me, oh, is Australia racist? No, it's not. Because one of the majority of the populations in Australia today are Indians. It's not the white people anymore. They're diminishing compared to the Indians that are coming. Look at our new Prime Minister, Prime Minister Modi. They basically shook hands and they created a migration mobility agreement that we want Indians, as many Indians as possible. They've announced it. That it's all over the news. It's all over different. They're coming up with a different visa called Mates, especially for Indians. Mates, which is specially,
Okay.
it's basically a mobility partnership which they have tied up with, where they are coming up with a visa where they want to get Indians down for on a work visa, like a 2 year or a 3 year work visa, which is it's not yet come out, but they've already signed something. They've already working on something, and like our Indian Prime Minister said, I want, like you have uranium because Australia has the largest uranium in the world. So they said, you have uranium. And the first thing that our Prime Minister said, you have people. And that's what we want. We want good, skilled labor, skilled education people. Yes, Australia has, as I told you before, Australia has the largest gold, largest iron ore. But then what? Who will take it out? Who will create the logistics? Who will take it to the port? Who will create the deep sea port? And to do all of that, we need hospitals, we need townships, and for that we need people.